Breaking news! Boston Wine Coven, we are coming to your city.
We're coming to Boston.
We're coming to Boston. We have a jam-packed weekend planned, starting with a live show at the gorgeous, incomparable Virginia Wimberley Theater on Friday, July 18th. And listen, you know I have a lot of family and friends in Boston, so you're going to want to...
They're very loud.
They're loud and they are hungry for wine and crime, so you're going to want to snag your seats before they freaking take them all. The show is very, very likely to sell out. VIP ticket holders get preferred seating, a signed Gals poster, and access to the post-show Q&A. And if you are an Uncorked subscriber, keep an eye on your email because we're going to be sending you an exclusive pre-sale link to get the best spots first. So snag your tickets either through that pre-sale link as an Uncorked subscriber or head to our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com. But wait, there's more.
There's so much more.
So much more.
We are so thrilled to be attending the True Crime Podcast Festival in Boston on July 18th through 20th, 2025. This is the only festival that brings together true crime creators, experts, and advocates to promote compassion, empathy, and respect in the stories we tell and consume.
Hear, hear.
It's very important. We're having the conversations that need to be had.
Listen, I'm doing a panel on Luigi Mangione and the media, so you're not going to want to miss it.
No.
It's going to be buck.
This immersive weekend is packed with live podcasts, panel discussions, the Luigi Mangione thing with Amanda, meet and greets with some of the most talented creators and fierce advocates in the true crime space. I am so thrilled. We were at this festival last year in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So many great people.
Oh my God. It was honestly unbelievable and so intimate an experience. Like, we are just sitting in a room with all of y'all, like talking face to face and really breaking down these cases. It's really incredible.
Plus, if you go VIP, you'll get exclusive access to private meet and greets and a catered social where you can just mingle with your favorite creators. It's so fun. Tickets are selling fast and hotel rooms are booked up quickly, so do not wait on this. Use our exclusive code COVEN for 20% off and grab your spot now at truecrimepodcastfestival.com.
We'll see you in Boston!
See you in Boston!
Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends drink wine, chat true crime. Is that how it goes? Chug wine.
Chug wine.
Chat true crime.
Guys, we're struggling.
This is episode like 6,000. And unleash our worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah, that's what we do, okay?
I'm Lucy. I'm fine.
I'm Amanda. I am fine.
I'm really glad for you. I am
fucking once.
I am on the bus today.
Not that I'm getting any satisfaction out of your struggle. Despite my face, I truly am not getting any satisfaction out of your struggle. It's just that I'm usually the one who is barely, like, hanging on by a thread.
It's me today. We've swapped.
We are pretty good at only one of us, like, spiraling out of control at a time.
That's true.
So
thank Christ. Could you
let's
imagine?
honor that. Let's honor that.
I'm lighting my candle. I have a chicken bacon wrap right here. Because, yes, I was trying to shove it in my face while I'm furiously typing about the Vermont state flag.
On our ad break, I might have to get more blueberries, but I am going to hit this joint quick.
Really good idea.
I don't have to work till 5, so.
It's great. It's fine. I'm going to have a good weekend. I'm going to see my mom and my sister and all my family.
You're going to have a wonderful time. But yeah, we've been traveling so much back to back to back to back. And
getting out the door is so
It's hard. And you've got a baby, which, like, talk about impossible to get the fuck out the door.
Yeah, last night I was like, Corey, do you want to come with us for the weekend? He was like, no. Like, okay.
So it's just you and June going to meet your mom and your sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be good. It's a 2-hour drive.
Well, once you get there,
Oh, I won't see her for
Mel and
24
Madeline
hours.
will be, yeah. You'll have the weekend off.
That's what I like to tell myself before it happens, because it never happens that way. And that's okay. That's okay.
Can I tell you my weekend?
Yeah.
We're recording right now. Then I work at Harriet at 5. Tomorrow I work at Harriet from 9 a.m. to probably about 9 p.m. I'm doubling.
Oh.
Then Sunday morning I have a cat's birthday party. And then
Quinceañera.
Yeah, and then Sunday night I'm hosting trivia at Arbiter, which will be long in the past by the time anyone hears this, but it's on social media, so
Oh my
please
God.
come. By Monday, I will be an empty husk, and we will be recording. So get ready for episode 429, because it's going to be my turn to be a fucking empty shell.
Just a suggestion of a living adult.
Yeah, I'm just a facsimile of a person.
I'm a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Correct. Pixelated, little fuzzy,
Oh.
but still thriving, kind of.
We're here. We're
here.
here.
And we're
Anyway.
here for our fan picker.
We're yes, we have a very special fan pick episode today. Deanna has requested Vermont Crimes.
My God.
Vermont is now officially on my bucket list because she cute.
Yeah, Vermont's cool.
Have you been?
I've only been once as like a kid, because, I lived in Connecticut. So like everything is,
right
within
there.
a couple hours. It's not like Minnesota, or if you want to go to the up north, it's like a 6-hour fucking drive.
Yeah.
Minnesota as a state is like the size of New England.
Yeah.
And people, I feel like
She's
out
tall.
east forget that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
we can't just take a train like you lucky ducks can and just go to another city or state.
But it's funny how like that relativity is everywhere. Cause then like you talk to someone who lives in New York, they're like, Brooklyn?
Yeah, I know.
That'll take hours. It's like you could put your shoes on, you can walk.
Mhm. Yep. You could.
You could.
God bless.
Anyway.
I was just in Brooklyn. It was lovely.
Jealous. Did you go to that candy store? The 24-hour
No.
candy store?
We really were only there for like 30 hours for Pat's wedding.
Mm.
And then we went to West Hartford, where I'm from. And I got to see my old house, and it was really cute.
And you cried.
I did tear up a little bit. I didn't get to go inside because they had a Roto-Rooter van in the front driveway, and I was like, I'm not knocking when they have Roto-Rooter over. Like, I'm a person. I'm a nice person.
They're not having a good day.
There's no way they were having a good day if Roto-Rooters.
It's basically a house ambulance.
Yeah, and the Roto-Rooter guy, when we like parked, was like, it's backing up into the street. Check your basement. So we went inside with our neighbors, and I was like, do you want me to go down and check the basement? And Rick Voigt, shout out, was like, I can do it. But they're up on a hill, so they were fine. It's like, yeah, I'm really not going over there.
No.
It's not happening.
No.
But Vermont is great.
I had the intention of like doing a case, little bit of background. Not all states are really that interesting. Vermont has quite a lot going on.
Yeah, and you don't always have to do a case. I have a doozy, so
Okay, God.
don't worry about, we're covered.
I don't have a case. I just have a lot of history.
Great. I can't wait.
Well, let's get started. But first, Amanda, what is our wine crime pairing for Vermont Crimes?
Yeah, Deanna wanted us to talk about Vermont ice wine. And we
More
have talked
ice wine.
Yeah, we have talked about ice wine before for Canadian crimes.
No, it was way more recent than that.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Canadian crimes?
Yeah, we did some
That was
sort of
years ago.
I know. I don't think I've discussed ice wine much since then. But just as a little refresher, and this is from a Vermont winery / distillery called Snow Farm.
Cute.
So please check them out, snowfarm.com. And they have a great blog, and they do specialize in ice wine, although they offer a lot of different things. And ice wine is particularly sweet. So if it's not up your alley. That's totally fair. And they do ship to many states, and they're awesome. Under their Our Wines tab, they just list, here are the states we ship to, so that there's no confusion. You don't have to try and figure it out. If your state's there, you're covered. So from the Snow Farm website's blog, they talk about what ice wine is. And they say ice wine is a dessert wine. It's a very sweet wine. We call it ice wine like the name implies because you let the grapes hang out in the field until they freeze. So it was kind of created out of necessity because if the crop was growing in conditions that it was freezing so early that the grapes couldn't completely finish their ripening. Mm-hmm. And so they would freeze, and then they would just be like, okay, well, I guess we have to harvest them. And then they tried making wine from it, and it was like, holy shit, this is kind of a banger, a sweet banger, but a banger. So because you leave the grapes until they freeze, that means there's less juice because the sugars are all concentrated inside of the grape. You need to have the right temperature when you harvest, and that temperature is about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, so pretty significantly below freezing. If you harvest when it's too cold, then it's too concentrated. And if you harvest too early, then it's not concentrated enough. So the window is very finicky and very small. The grapes need to have a specific level of sugar to be called ice wine. It is a difficult process. You pick the grapes when it's cold, and that requires, to make this wine requires a lot of grapes and mittens, yeah, and a lot of work in cold conditions. Sometimes you have to pick at night. Pressing the juice is also a long process. Imagine putting rock hard grapes into a wine press. Mm-mm. Some presses break because of the pressure. Fermentation also takes 3 to 6 months and is very tricky, but the end product is so delicious and intense that it's definitely worth making. Snow Farm Vineyard last made a batch in 2023, and what they say here is that they can make ice wine every year because of the conditions, but they prefer to wait and only make it when the quality of the grapes is exceptional and the conditions are the most favorable, because it's so intensive and so labor heavy that it's if it's not going to be pretty much perfect, then we're not even going to spend the time and the energy to make it. Mm-hmm. So I believe their most recent vintage is the 2023, and their favorite recommendation is the Snow Farm Vidal Blanc ice wine. And this one is described as a unique wine made with Vidal Blanc grapes left to freeze naturally on the vine. A very intense, sweet wine. You can drink it on its own, and it is meant to be served chilled.
You don't say.
You don't say. But for a full experience, you do want to let the wine warm up just a bit in the glass so that it really opens and you can discover the full range of flavors and aromas from the wine. Rich notes of honey, pineapple, and other exotic fruits throughout, and can be paired with foods that have a high fat content like rich cheeses or desserts like cheesecake or ice cream.
Oh, remember my cheesecake?
Pregnancy phase? Yeah, I miss it. I miss when you liked sweets. But yeah, so I don't have this. It's a little early in the day for me to be drinking. I took a hit of my strawberry cough, and I'm drinking a Kirkland brand lemon sparkling water. What do you have?
Coke in my Kentucky Derby glass.
Cute.
And of course, my chicken wrap.
Well, duh. All right, well, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors so you can also take a bite of your chicken wrap, and then we can dive into the history and flag of Vermont.
Let's do it.
Let's be real. Life happens. Kids spill. Pets shed. And accidents are inevitable. Find a sofa that can keep up at washablesofas.com. Starting at just $699, our sofas are fully machine washable inside and out, so you can say goodbye to stains and hello to worry-free living. Made with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics, they're kid-proof, pet-friendly, and built for everyday life. Plus, changeable fabric covers let you refresh your sofa whenever you want. Need flexibility? Our modular design lets you rearrange your sofa anytime to fit your space, whether it's a growing family room or a cozy apartment. Plus, they're earth-friendly and trusted by over 200,000 happy customers. It's time to upgrade to a stress-free, mess-proof sofa. Visit washablesofas.com today and save. That's washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
Your teeth are important. I don't know how to explain this, but they are incredibly important. And they're also expensive to maintain. And I know we don't think a lot about our teeth while we're sleeping, but if you're a night clencher, you might be doing damage that you didn't even really realize you're doing. But the good thing is you're not alone. Like, if you're part of the 30% of Americans who grind their teeth, then your smile really does need protection. And there's no better solution than Remy's custom fit night guard.
I have woken myself up because I'm clenching my teeth so hard before.
Queen. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you're really stressed out, it's not something you can really control while you're sleeping. So night guards are the answer. Both dentists and teeth grinders recommend Remy because a custom fit night guard is the best way to protect your teeth. And Remy is 80% less than the dentist and also way easier. So they send you your impression kit in the mail, comes straight to your door. Remy gives you step-by-step instructions to get your perfect impression. Their customer service, like if you are not sure about it or if you're nervous or whatever, reach out to them. They will
handhold
they will walk
the
you
whole
through
process. They're so helpful.
So helpful. And it's also like kind of crafty. Like I got a little bit of like craft endorphins out of doing this impressions kit.
Making your creation.
And then you mail those bad boys in. Remy ships your custom fit night guard, which is made in the US in Las Vegas. So like, how fun.
Buy American.
You get your night guard back and start protecting your teeth. It's so thin, you don't even know that you're wearing it. It's not uncomfortable at all. You don't even feel it. The best part is Remy is so confident you'll get a perfect fit that they offer a 45-night perfect fit guarantee or your money back.
Yeah, and if you try it and it's really not working out for you, they'll work with you. Again, like you said, their customer service is so incredible. You do not have anything to lose. Also, no waiting rooms, no overpriced bills, just a better way to protect your teeth while you sleep. So try Remy risk-free at shopremy.com/gals. Use code GALS to get up to 50% off your night guard at checkout. That's 50% off at shopremi.com/gals with code GALS. And thank you, Remy, for sponsoring this episode.
With summer in full swing and full temperatures, I am getting that familiar urge to refresh my closet and get things that aren't just like black and shapeless. But I'm trying not to waste money on pieces I'm only going to wear once, or like I have a bad habit of buying clothes because I have a very specific event in mind for it, and then I never wear it again. So that is where Quince comes in. Their clothes are timeless. They feel luxurious, they look elevated, and the quality is just so far beyond what you would expect for the prices that they have. It's the kind of wardrobe upgrade that just makes sense.
Yeah, they have all the goods. We're talking 100% European linen tops starting at $30. They've got washable silk dresses and skirts. They have soft cotton sweaters. I have a bunch of the linen pieces. I have a linen romper that's super, super cute and just
So
really...
cute.
It's lightweight and so easy to pack, so easy to steam any like little wrinkles out. It's just like very easy to care for. And you really will be reaching for these pieces again and again because you can switch them up, you can dress them up. Sometimes I'll put like a cute undershirt and make the romper work like little overalls. Like it just works super well. They also have really high quality swimwear. I just ordered the Italian crossback one-piece bathing suit. And you know, you don't want to like spend an arm and a leg on bathing suits, but you want a swimsuit that's actually going to hold up. This bathing suit is, $49.50. Like the risk is so low and the quality is so high. I'm just obsessed with it. And that's really how it is with Quince, because everything with Quince is half the cost of similar brands. They work directly with top artisans and cut out the middleman, so Quince can give you luxury without the markup. You're getting those timeless quality pieces that are going to last in your rotation. Quince also only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. You're really going to feel the quality the second you put it on. And that's like everything. I mean, the jewelry. I literally live in my little gold paperclip necklace. I have very sensitive skin. It's never caused me any irritation. The color hasn't faded. It's just beautiful. You can tell how much they care about every piece that's in their inventory.
So give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/wine for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/WINE to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/wine.
Okay, Lucy, take it away. Tell us everything that you know about Vermont.
I now know a lot about Vermont.
I can't wait.
First of all, she's a cutie patootie.
Yeah, mega cutie. A lot of calendars. A lot of postcards.
Oh.
Calendars and postcards at their, gift shops, gas stations, prevalent.
Well, they have so much natural beauty to be proud of.
It's a picturesque state.
So Vermont is a state in the New England region of the northeastern United States.
Okay.
It borders Massachusetts to the south, New Hampshire to the east, New York's huge dumper to the west, and the Canadian province of Quebec to the north.
Yeah.
So it's on the Canadian border. This will come into play later. Come into play like it's a plot line that it's next to Canada.
It is. It's for the plot.
Yeah.
Look how big this blueberry is.
Damn. Speaking
Really
of big
good.
dumper. It is 157.4 miles long, 90.3 miles wide at the Canadian border, and 41.6 miles along the Massachusetts border. It's so small.
It's a little bitty baby.
Yeah.
Nothing will beat Delaware, Rhode Island, but she's small.
Much of its eastern border runs along the Connecticut River Valley. Its western boundary with New York runs down the middle of Lake Champlain. Sha or Cha?
I think it's Cha, but I don't know. I haven't lived there in a long time.
Lake Champlain for more than half of the length of the lake. That lake is long and skinny too.
Yeah.
The Green Mountains run right up the middle. And with a population of about 648,000 for the whole state, it's the second least populous state in the country,
Yeah.
just after Wyoming.
Yeah. That's so funny.
I know. Area-wise, it's the sixth smallest state in the U.S.
Just a little buddy.
Just a buddy. It's got a ton of forests, mostly hardwoods and conifers. In fact, the state is 70% carpeted in trees.
Hell yeah.
Vermont is home to the highest concentration of sugar maple trees in the U.S., which are responsible for creating the deep fiery reds and oranges of fall foliage.
It is the state for leaf peeping.
Damn. I'll never forget our drive from Brooklyn to D.C. at peak leafing.
It was pretty amazing. It was the trees were on fire with
Look at that
color. It was
fucker.
amazing. Yeah, look at those fuckers.
Okay, so before we get much farther, we have to talk about the flag.
Yes. Should I go to the drive so I can look at the picture?
Only if you don't comment on any of the other ones.
Okay, I'll be good.
The flag consists of the state's coat of arms and motto on a field of azure
Okay.
blue. While the pine needle supporters of the coat of arms are represented throughout New England and symbolizes the small pine tree branches worn at the Battle of Plattsburgh near the end of World War. Not that those weren't words that I wrote.
Nope.
Near the end of the War of 1812.
There it is.
The World War of 1812. The pine tree in the middle of the coat of arms represents the Vermont forests. The cow and the three, what I super thought were little baby bell mushrooms.
I thought they were mushrooms too, but then they do not make sense in terms of the size of the cow.
Yeah, they're like
They gotta
as
be
big as
bushels
the
of
cow.
something. Yeah.
Well, they're sheaves of wheat,
Okay.
and they represent the dairy and agriculture industries. The deer head on top, I think it's like a disembodied.
Yeah, and he's looking away from the paparazzi. No photos, please.
He is. He's got a tilt. He's got a weird little
It's
tilt
really,
to him.
the perspective is bizarre. The photographer was laying on their back,
I know.
looking up at it while it hated on him and tried to move away.
Yeah, this is not my good angle.
No, not Sheena's good side.
Well, I don't have any info about the angle of the...
Buck.
Yeah.
That book.
But that book is supposed to represent Vermont's wildlife.
I would imagine.
And then we have the Green Mountains in the background.
Yeah, Gorgina.
Down below.
I like this flag.
It's good. Mm-hmm. It's good as far as state flags go. The motto "Freedom and Unity" is also used, although I don't like how it reads left to right.
Yeah.
Freedom, Vermont, and Unity. Mm-hmm. And the A in "and" is
Covered.
almost completely covered.
By the fold of the flag. Yeah, we have notes, but in terms of state flags, this is one of the less problematic ones we've seen. It's
There's nothing racist on it.
Yeah, it's quite beautifully designed. I think it was smart to lean into the beauty and vast forestry of the state.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can't avoid it, really.
Yeah, they did good. They did good. We're proud of you.
The motto balances two different ideals, the freedom of the individual citizen and the welfare of the common good. Okay, so bless their hearts. Bless them. On May 1st, 1804, the number of states in the U.S. rose to 17, and it was expected that the United States would change to 17 stars and 17 stripes at that time.
Sure.
So in anticipation, go look at the other flag that's on the drive.
Oh,
the
loud.
one that-
Okay.
In anticipation,
Oh.
Vermont adopted the expected new U.S. flag design with the addition of the name Vermont embroidered along the top. However, the U.S. did not add any stripes at this time, resulting in the Vermont flag having more stripes than the national flag.
Yeah, it looks like complete nonsense.
It a little bit backfired. And this is the laziest Vermont.
Yep. It kind of looks like a kid being asked to recreate the American flag from memory. Mm-hmm. And the kid lives in Vermont and was very excited about that. Mm-hmm. But it don't look right.
It's just not, yeah. And then I also have a picture of like a bunch of white dudes at the state house holding up the state flag that they have now.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mostly just liked it because I like looking at old photos like this.
Yeah.
Like
With
look
the
how
big
tall
rotary
those
fan in the
ceilings
back.
are. Yeah, it's 2:03 in the afternoon.
It's hot. They're in 3-piece suits.
It's hot.
They all engage with white supremacy. And they
All
are
of them.
proud of this flag.
They're like, ooh,
This guy with the little belly in the front with his hand in his pocket kind of looks like the Monopoly Man cartoon.
he really does.
Yep.
I like the guy with the round glasses behind him that's just like, ooh.
How did I end up here?
He looks like Aaron on the Valley at the dinner talking to Jesse. He's got
Girl.
those eyes.
That man
That's
is
nuts.
on drugs,
He's gotta be.
allegedly. But that was wild to see in the sneak peek.
Yeah. The eyes bugging out, and it's like, you have to know that you're surrounded by a camera crew. Can't you feel your face
Oh,
a
no.
little bit better than that?
Not when you're that blasted.
I guess. All right. So that's it about the flag
Okay.
and their cute attempt to like be super on top of things. Mm-hmm. We're ready for that 18th stripe.
Not happening, buddy. Sorry, guys.
Or, yeah, 17th stripe, whatever. So the state's modern name, Vermont, comes from the French Les Monts Verts. Les Monts
The Green
Verts,
Mountain.
The Green Mountains.
Nailed it.
And Vermont is nicknamed the Green Mountain State.
Cute.
The capital of Vermont is Montpelier, which is the smallest state capital in the U.S., and it's the only capital without a McDonald's.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Yeah,
I wonder what they do have. A Jack in the Box?
probably.
Something crazy like that? Something
I don't even know
absolutely
what's out
crazy.
there.
No. No one knows. There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. The Vermont State House's dome is covered in real gold leaf, and its floor in the floors inside, visitors can discover real fossils from Vermont's own fossil reef
Oh, wow.
called Chazzy Reef at Isle La Motte.
Cool.
It might be Chazy.
Chalzé.
Chalzé. In 1968, Vermont was the first of 4 states to ban billboards.
I love that. I wish we could do that in Minnesota.
Did you already know that they banned billboards?
I didn't know that they were banned in Vermont, but I do know that, like, I've been to Hawaii. You can't see them there. I don't know where else they're banned, though.
Maine and Alaska.
Oh, okay. I knew like a handful of states did it, but, you know, bans or at least like and as coming from someone who we've bought billboards for our business, I still would vote to ban billboards.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't want to fucking see I had fingernails at 8 seconds old. Fucking anti-abortion, those creepy ass AI babies.
Them.
Fuck
I could feel
you.
pain.
I want to abort you more after seeing that shit. It's having a reverse effect. Church of Jesus, whatever the fuck that bought that billboard. Fuck you.
When you die, you will meet God.
Oh,
I saw that
okay.
one. You know, I think the worst ones are the guy with the arms, not Jesus, Chris Lindahl.
Yeah, Chris Lindahl. No, that shit. I know. We've turned
They're
that
everywhere.
into like local legend though, so we found a way to have fun with it. But
what is the strategy behind buying 4 billboards in a row right next to each other that are the same?
everybody talking about it. I mean, everyone
talking about it
knows
now.
precise. This is the strategy, and bitch, it's working.
Yeah.
Chris
it's
Lindahl's
just
all over
annoying.
local forums. Like, it's all word of mouth. And it's mostly people being annoyed by their ads, but everyone's talking about him. He'll sell your house. Guaranteed offer.
I hate it. I hate
know.
it so much. Oh my God. Okay. So Vermont was the first state before it was a state to ban slavery.
Okay.
So this was before they were a state. The delegates from what would become Vermont forbade adult slavery within their republic.
Only adult slavery, though.
It's confusing. It was the first to abolish slavery for those older than 21 in its constitution.
Okay.
And in the year 2022, Vermont voters officially amended the Constitution to prohibit all forms of slavery.
Okay.
Going a little bit deeper, they forbade adult slavery within their republic, although the Vermont Constitution continued to make allowances for the enslavement of men under the age of 21 and women under the age of 18. So I think until 2022, that was in their Constitution.
Uh-huh.
So that's a little bit. Just goes to show it. It helps to clean house of all your papers and documents and stuff every now and then.
Sure does.
Vermont was also the first state to legally recognize same-sex couples when it created civil unions, and it is the first state to affirm marriage equality through the legislature, making same-sex marriage legal in 2009.
It is true that lesbians love Vermont.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty high queer population.
Do they flock there?
I mean, every lesbian I've ever met, which is a lot, because I love y'all, and I've hooked up with y'all,
Is from Vermont.
loves Vermont or has lived in Vermont. I'm telling you,
Vermont is for lovers,
I love it.
same-sex lovers. Mm-hmm. It's the birthplace of 2 U.S. presidents, Calvin Coolidge and Chester A. Arthur, who I always forget was a president. He's like the forgotten president.
Gun to my head, couldn't tell you what president or who that guy is or what he looks like.
Chester A. Arthur.
Jennifer Coolidge is super cool, though.
Yeah. Love that president. They're also churning out Olympians over there.
Hell yeah. And maple syrup.
Yeah. Because of all the sugar maple trees, which account for its beautiful fall foliage.
Mm-hmm.
So it produces the highest percentages of U.S. Olympic skiers and riders. I don't know. Riders?
Girl,
I don't know.
you're asking me to clarify something about a sporting event, a world-renowned sporting event?
Yeah, you're right. Let's just forget I brought that up. But speaking of
I'm offended.
the skiers, Vermont is home to the nation's first ski tow, which was built in Woodstock in
Like the
1934.
rope tow?
Yeah.
Oh, Clev.
Speaking of snow, there is a guy named Wilson Bentley, nicknamed Snowflake. Do you want to guess what he's known for?
That held up.
Yeah. Do you want to guess what he's known for?
Oh, okay. Wilson Snowflake.
Wilson Snowflake Bentley.
Plow services.
He took the nation's first successful detailed photographs of snowflakes in 1895.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would have been what a neat project.
Mind-blowing to see.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Like the guy who took the first x-ray of like his wife's hand.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh. Didn't she get like super freaked out about it? She had like an existential crisis about it.
I don't know, but how could you not?
Someone did.
That's a big first.
Yeah. Seeing
Looking
your
at
bones.
the inside, to be the first one to experience that would be altering.
Uh-huh. It's like a bad trip.
Uh-huh.
Vermont is home to, I don't know how they got these numbers. Well, maybe. It's home to 2,100 moose,
Okay.
between 4,500 and 6,000 black bears, and between 45,000 and 50,000 turkeys,
Good for them.
and more than 20 popular species of fish, whatever the fuck that means.
Wow.
Okay, here are their state things.
Okay.
The bird is the hermit thrush.
I don't even know what that is.
The state cold water fish is the brook trout, and the
Okay.
state warm water fish is the walleye pike.
Hell yeah. We're aligned there. Hell yeah.
Their state insect is the honeybee.
Yay.
The state rocks, plural, are marble, granite, and slate.
Okay. A little wah-wah.
Speaking of rocks, there's like one of the world's biggest or first quote unquote deep hole quarry. It's
In
like,
Vermont?
yeah, it's like 1,200 feet deep.
Oh, no. That's
And-
too scary.
And
Bye.
half of it's covered in water, but you can sit, there's still like a huge cliff. But if you think that there's that much under you too, ugh.
Oh, Jesus. Mm-mm.
Yeah. The state gem is the grossular garnet.
Garnet. Okay.
I cannot talk today.
You're doing great.
The state animal is the Morgan horse. You don't touch the Morgan letters.
I have no idea what that's from. God bless you.
Real Housewives of New York. Sonia
Oh,
Morgan's
I don't-
meltdown.
I don't watch New York.
Oh.
Sorry.
You old New York?
I know. I've only seen parts of it. I'm
Josh,
not.
are you listening to this shit?
Yeah, he knows. I have brought this up multiple times. I have been shamed for this before.
I knew there was a franchise that you didn't watch, but I didn't. I forgot that it was New York.
I haven't watched much New York or New Jersey. I'm getting my way through Atlanta. I have not yet watched Potomac.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Somebody out there laughed. The state sports are skiing and snowboarding.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what riding meant.
It must
Riders. Snowboarding.
be. But they call them borders.
The state tree is, of course, the sugar maple.
Mm.
And this is my favorite fact. Apple is both the state fruit and the state pie of Vermont, with Vermont law mandating that apple pie be served with cheddar cheese, ice cream, or milk if possible.
Do they even grow that many apple trees? I feel like in a cold, snowy state. I mean, not that apple trees can't survive in those areas, but like,
We have apple trees here. You have
I
apple
know.
trees there.
it's like, how about a maple pecan
Eh?
pie? Something that
Maybe
you have in
everyone's sick of the sugar.
maybe.
It doesn't
Not that
give
apple
reasoning.
pie is not sweet. Like, that's like the whole point.
Well, maybe that
Sweet
they're
as
just
apple
sick of
pie.
it getting drilled into their heads, you know?
Maybe.
Shake it up with an apple.
Okay.
So indigenous people have lived here for about 13,000 years.
Damn right.
At the time of European contact, the area was inhabited by the Abenaki and the Mohawk peoples.
Mm-hmm.
First, the French claimed the territory as part of New France.
Yeah, I wondered
LOL.
with all there's still so much French
Yeah.
naming.
Montpellier.
Yeah, I figured it was the French who colonized it first.
Yeah. And then when the British were like creeping up along the Atlantic coastline, we got the 7 Years' War, and New France, turns out, was never a thing. Never came to fruition. After the war ended in 1763, settlement increased because of easing security concerns. And that's
And I have to imagine that means indigenous populations either being terminated or relocated eased security, quote unquote, concerns for white colonizers.
yeah, absolutely. It was the French and Indian Wars.
Yep.
So they drove out the French and the Native people.
Indigenous population.
But that's
Yep.
sort of where we get it's got a very feisty history post-colonization.
Mm-hmm.
It was its own republic for 14 years, which I think is really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Wikipedia. The Vermont Republic, officially known at the time as the state of Vermont, was an independent state in New England that existed from January 15th, 1777 to March 4th, 1791.
Mm-hmm.
So it was founded when delegates from 28 towns that were just like near each other,
yeah.
between the lake and the river.
Between the rivers and the lakes that they're used to.
Yes. And they declared independence from the jurisdictions of New Hampshire, New York, and Quebec, and land claims of, there we go, the British colonies of Quebec, New Hampshire, and New York. So I think what happened is that New Hampshire, New York, and Quebec were all fighting each other over these areas of land because it's all in between them. Mm-hmm. They're all British colonies.
Mm-hmm. Well, isn't Quebec a French? Well, it became a British colony, but it was, I think, also originally occupied by the French, which is why they speak French in Quebec, Canada.
I don't know the history of that, of the French people in Canada, but...
The Canucks.
But obviously the French took over something up there.
And then the Brits were like, JK, that's ours, but you can like stay, I guess, but you belong to us now.
I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. It's a different country. I know nothing about Canada.
I know.
We're not taught about Canada.
We're not.
We're going to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so these territories, these areas of land in between those three places, these were called the New Hampshire Grants or the Grant lands.
Okay.
And they were basically being kind of like identified, doled out, controlled by this guy from New Hampshire. I think his name is Bennington. Mm-hmm. But he was just kind of a rich prick. He's a landlord.
Right.
Is what he was. So New Hampshire had these grants. New York had similar grants, and these two flavors of grants were overlapping in some areas. So there was quite a lot of dispute between New Hampshire and New York over this land.
Yeah. But now it's Vermont, bitch.
Now it's Vermont. So in the decade leading up to the Revolutionary War, most of the settlers and land speculators in what would become Vermont held New Hampshire titles to their land. So they were basically on New Hampshire's side of the whole squabble.
Sure.
So the British come in and they're like, no, this land is under control of New York. So New York is more on like the British side of things. New Hampshire's less so.
Sure.
If that makes sense. Of course, this results in a militia called the Green Mountain Boys. This is from VermontHistory.org. When a New York sheriff leading 300 militiamen attempted to take possession of Grant's farms, the Grant's lands farms, in 1771, he was met with resistance. A determined group of Bennington militia led by young firebrands Ethan Allen.
Oh my God! I always forget. I mean, it's hard to forget the East Coast connection to Ethan Allen because it's fucking everywhere out there. But yeah, I forget that.
I didn't know that this was connected with the brand.
I'm 99% sure it is. Hey Siri, is the brand Ethan Allen connected to the historical Ethan Allen?
You'll need to unlock your iPhone first.
Oh, fuck. Oh.
Something went wrong.
Oh, yeah, did it?
I'm on the Wikipedia page. Yes.
It's named for a son of Vermont, an American hero, Ethan Allen.
Okay. Yeah, that Ethan Allen.
There you go. I thought it was.
Well, you remember, who didn't get a whole couch store?
Who?
Was his partner, Remember Baker.
His name is Remember?
His first name is Remember.
What up? That's mean.
Well, we forgot about him.
Never forget Baker.
So Ethan Allen and Remember Baker stopped this militia of 300 people trying to come in and take their land. Several Grants towns then organized committees of safety and military companies to protect their interests against the Yorkers. These military groups called themselves the New Hampshire Men, while New York authorities referred to them as the Bennington Mob and rioters. It's all about optics. By 1772, the New Hampshire Men sort of changed their moniker to the Green Mountain Boys. It's catchier. And maybe they didn't want to be associated with the Bennington anymore.
Right.
Because, again, he was kind of no.
And just giving them themselves their own
Political
name
identity.
rather than allowing themselves to be identified by their opposition. I'm sure there's power in that.
Oh, well, they were called the New Hampshire Men. Sorry, I was thinking of the Bennington Mob. That name was assigned to them. That was meant to politicize. But still, the New Hampshire men, maybe they were just like, well, fuck New Hampshire. We want to be our own Green Mountain area group of boys anyway. When they continued to terrorize, beat, and burn out Yorkers, the governor of New York offered rewards for their capture and then, in absentia, sentenced them to death. So
Chill.
no one could capture them. So he was like, okay, well, they're all sentenced to death.
Well, you gotta catch them first, bitch.
No shit. So that pissed off our guy, Ethan Allen. So he declared that they were fighting for their, quote, liberty, property, and life, thereby linking the Grant's cause to America's fight with Britain. So they were just like, fuck you, quit taking over. We are our own now. And then, aligned with America's fight against Britain. The Green Mountain Boys went on to play pivotal military roles in the independence of Vermont and America's revolutionary cause. A Green Mountain Boys regiment was authorized by the Continental Congress on July 4th, 1775, and they officially became part of the Northern Army.
Okay.
Colonel Seth Warner and a regiment of 500 men were called the Green Mountain Rangers. So they were like, we're part of the bigger army. We're truly fighting the threat. Before the uniforms that they got, there's a picture of them with their cute little uniforms on the drive. I think they've got like green jackets and white pants.
Oh, yeah.
Brown
Very
pants.
posh.
Yeah.
I like that they're painted even like hand on hip, a little bit of hip out.
Yeah.
They're posed. These are models.
Yeah. So before they became the Green Mountain Rangers and were like part of the actual military, the Green Mountain Boys had no formal uniform, wearing primarily buckskin jackets and breeches, probably making them harder to find and identify too. So good for them.
Yeah.
So this alignment with America led to many Vermonters taking part in the American Revolution on the side of the revolution, but the Continental Congress did not recognize the independence of Vermont, which at that point was still known kind of outside of Vermont as the New Hampshire Grants.
Sure.
Due to continued objections from New York, which again had conflicting property claims. In response to this, some people from Vermont, like the delegates, went up to Quebec and were like, can we just be part of you guys? Can we just be part of Canada?
Yeah.
Will you take us in? Because both of these dudes suck.
Right. Girl felt.
So the British were like, yeah, that's fine. You can join Quebec because the British controlled all of it anyway.
Right.
But then when the British surrendered at the siege of Yorktown in 1781, they were confident that America was going to win the war and become independent. So Quebec was like, oh, never mind. We're back on the U.S. now. Vermont, later bordered on three sides by U.S. territory, ended negotiations with Britain and instead negotiated terms to become part of the United States. The Republic remained in existence for the next 14 years, albeit without diplomatic recognition from any foreign power, which is like sort of part of the deal.
Sure.
On March 4th, 1791, it was admitted into the U.S. as the state of Vermont with the constitution and laws of the independent state, the little republic, continuing in effect after admission. And that is why they had to later amend their constitution to forbid slavery of women under 18 and men under 21. So weird that was still on the books.
Yeah, let's just not do it at all.
Yeah. But I do love that they actually have some kind of law that mandates cheddar cheese being served with your apple pie.
God bless.
So yeah, that's a little bit about the Green Mountain Boys and my new favorite state of Vermont.
Hell yeah. Well done.
Thanks.
Proud of you.
Thanks. I went down a little bit of a history rabbit hole.
You did, and you love those holes.
I do.
Explore your holes.
That is one hole I love.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors, unless, of course, you are a member of Wine and Crime Uncorked, so that you can be getting this content and bonus content and monthly virtual happy hours and pre-sale for live show tickets and exclusive merch items as part of your Uncorked membership. So what are you waiting for? But maybe during this ad break, you can go sign up for Uncorked. Okay? Okay.
Let's be real. Life happens. Kids spill. Pets shed. And accidents are inevitable. Find a sofa that can keep up at washablesofas.com. Starting at just $699, our sofas are fully machine washable inside and out. so you can say goodbye to stains and hello to worry-free living. Made with liquid and stain-resistant fabrics, they're kid-proof, pet-friendly, and built for everyday life. Plus, changeable fabric covers let you refresh your sofa whenever you want. Need flexibility? Our modular design lets you rearrange your sofa anytime to fit your space, whether it's a growing family room or a cozy apartment. Plus, they're earth-friendly and trusted by over 200,000 happy customers. It's time to upgrade to a stress-free, mess-proof sofa. Visit washablesofas.com today and save. That's washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
We're definitely a coffee household. My husband is a full-blown coffee addict, but I cannot drink his coffee because he makes it like jet fuel. God bless him. I don't know how he drinks it, but it doesn't work for me. It gives me jitters. It upsets my stomach. I mean, it's powerful. It's powerful stuff. I want the energy, but I don't want the crash halfway through the day. I don't want the jitters. I don't want, the potential stomach upset. Sometimes really strong coffee can even literally give me a headache. It's just gonna be a bit much, but I need something that I can reach for to start my day. I'm not a huge breakfast person, so mud water is genuinely such an awesome solution for me to get my day started. They have a whole bunch of different options that you can get, but their OG blend is a favorite for me. That's a mix of cacao, chai, turmeric, and adaptogenic mushrooms. So it helps you feel focused without that mid-afternoon, mega caffeine crash. Here's the best part though. It's hot, right? It's amazing over ice. So I'll mix it with some water and then some almond milk and pour that over ice. And you're done. You have yourself a refreshing feel-good boost that actually helps you stay balanced and tastes like something that you would spend an arm and a leg on at the local coffee shop. I am obsessed.
Ready to make the switch to cleaner energy? Head to mudwater.com and grab your starter kit today. Right now, our listeners get an exclusive deal up to 43% off your entire order, plus free shipping and a free rechargeable frother when you use code GALS. That's right, up to 43% off with code GALS at mudwtr.com. After you purchase, they'll ask how you found them. Please show your support and let them know we sent you. Keep the energy natural and refreshing all year long with Mud Water, because life's too short for anything less than clean, delicious energy.
I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. I'm a sweaty Betty, and guess what? Perimenopause makes those night sweats
sister.
A real time.
Oh no.
So when my Miracle Made sheets are in my rotation, I am feeling really good about it because these sheets are inspired by NASA and use silver-infused fabrics that are temperature regulating so that they'll keep you sleeping at the perfect temperature all night long. Even if you're not a sweaty Betty, you know what it's like to have the converted attic bedroom, and no matter how much you do to mitigate that heat in the summer, it's a challenge.
Yep.
Let your sheets help you stay cool all night.
It's genius.
It's genius. It's magic. It's wizardry.
It is. So, like Amanda said, these sheets are infused with silver that not only are thermoregulating, but they prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth. So they stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other regular sheets. So your attic bedroom also isn't going to smell like a boy's dorm.
Ah, thank God.
Yeah, they're inspired by NASA, Women in STEM. These sheets are designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, no matter the weather, so you can sleep better, get better quality sleep every single night. And stop sleeping on bacteria. It's gross. Bacteria can clog your pores, cause breakouts, cause acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. These sheets are also luxuriously comfortable. Honestly, this is the cherry on top for me. They are so soft and smooth.
Yeah.
And they come without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than sheets used by some 5-star hotels.
I probably would sleep on uncomfortable sheets that had all of these other incredible benefits.
Yeah.
And you don't have to. They're so soft and smooth. I love them.
Yeah.
So upgrade your sleep as the weather heats up. Go to trymiracle.com/gals to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code GALS at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/gals and use the code GALS to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/gals to treat yourself. And thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. So while Lucy enjoys her rap, I am going to dive into my case, which is provided, recommended, requested by our fan picker, Deanna. So per our fan picker, I am taking you to the quiet rural landscape of Montgomery, Vermont. And this is a well-known case, specifically if you live in New England. So it's definitely more of a revisit than a introduction. But this is a case that has perplexed investigators and heartbroken a family for over 2 decades. It's ongoing.
Oh my God.
It remains unsolved. And, anytime that it's discussed, there is always the hope that people will hear about it and have their memories jogged and maybe have some information. So we will have all of the ways that you can provide tips or information at the end of this segment. So stay tuned. So today we're discussing the disappearance of Brianna Maitland. And Brianna was just 17 years old when she vanished on March 19th, 2004. She's like our age. This happened, right in our senior year of high school, basically.
Jesus.
And like I said, her case remains one of New England's most well-known missing persons mysteries. She was born on October 8th, 1986 in Burlington, Vermont. Brianna Alexandra Maitland grew up with her parents, Bruce and Kelly Maitland. She also had an older brother, Waylon, and they lived on a farm in East Franklin near the Canadian border.
I love the name Waylon.
I know, I do too. I just like these, some of these old school names. Mm-hmm. This might sound weird, but it's not that uncommon for these rural farming communities. So their home was pretty off grid. They used solar and water power. It was heated by a wood burning fire. It was very, we're living off the land. We're self-sufficient. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty bare bones.
Yeah.
And a rural lifestyle like that fosters hobbies like hunting and snowboarding. And, Brianna definitely partook in all of that. But as she got older, she desired a little more freedom and a little more of a robust social life because she's a teenager. So anybody.
17.
Yeah, anybody would want that. In October of 2003, on her 17th birthday, Brianna decided to move out of her parents' home. And her family was supportive of this. It was there was not distress at home. It wasn't contentious. Brianna wanted a little more independence and she wanted to live closer to her friends. Her friends went to a high school that was closer to quote unquote town. And she was mostly homeschooled, it sounds like. And then she moved out to live with this friend and her friend's dad and got her GED. So she was working on her GED.
Okay.
So she settled in with her friend Jillian Stout and Jillian's father in Sheldon, Vermont. So it sounds like Jillian was going to the school, but Brianna didn't enroll at the school. She's like, I'm so close to finishing all my credits. I'll just get my GED so that I can apply for colleges. Mm-hmm. So Brianna pursued her GED and she worked 2 jobs to support herself. Interestingly, Brianna was extensively trained in jiu-jitsu in her youth.
Oh.
And in fact, just 3 weeks before she disappeared, she got into kind of a party fight.
Oh.
With a former friend, and this former friend, I guess, broke her nose and gave her a little bit of a concussion, but she fought back and she did file charges, but the charges were later dropped and the assailant was cleared of any involvement in Brianna's disappearance just weeks later. This was a totally separate incident, kind of like a schoolyard spat, but at a party.
So Brianna had her nose broken.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh
Brianna was
gosh.
injured in the fight, but I assume she won. I mean, you might get a good sucker punch in on somebody who's well trained in jujitsu, but you're probably some kid is probably not going to win that fight.
The fight probably ended pretty quickly.
Yeah. But then on the morning of Friday, March 19th, 2004, Brianna had a big day. She took her final GED exam, which is super awesome and exciting. And then after completing it, she and her mom celebrated by having lunch. And then Kelly took her shopping. And Brianna was talking to Kelly about her plans for, attending college and applying to colleges around the area.
Cute.
And Kelly said, like, Brianna was in good spirits. She was excited for the future. She wasn't giving any signs that she had plans to leave or like end contact with her family and friends. It just seemed pretty normal. And then later in the afternoon, while they were out shopping, Kelly noticed that Brianna's mood shifted a bit. Kelly noticed that her daughter seemed a little unnerved, maybe a little shaken, agitated, and then like briefly stepped outside the store and then came back in and just seemed like a little bit off. While some speculate that she saw or spoke to someone when she stepped outside of the store, private investigator Lou Berry suggests that she may have simply gone to smoke a cigarette. This was a habit that her mom disapproved of, so she could have been like, oh, God damn it, my mom, I need a cigarette, but my mom's going to smell it on me, and she's going to be really annoying about it. She was 17. She might have just been having typical teenage agitation with her mom, anticipating her mom's going to give her shit about smoking a cigarette. It's possible she was also anxious about getting ready for her shift that night. She was a dishwasher at a restaurant called the Black Lantern Inn. That was one of her jobs. So Kelly dropped Brianna off back at Jillian's house where she was living between about 3:30 and 4 p.m. This was the last time that Kelly saw her daughter.
Ugh.
Before leaving for work, Brianna left a note for Jillian saying that she's going to be back after her shift. She usually got home between 10 p.m. and midnight, depending on how busy it was. And she included the Black Lantern Inn's phone number in case Jillian needed to reach her. Brianna then drove to the Black Lantern Inn, which again is a restaurant. It was in Montgomery. It's like 30 minutes away from where she was living with Jillian. And the car she was driving was like, it was her car. Her mom had given her the car, but it was still registered in her mom's name. So it's a green 1985 Oldsmobile 88 sedan. So cool. I just love she's driving this like old fucking Oldsmobile in 2004. I would have killed for a car like that, but I bet it got terrible mileage. So according to the Black Lantern Inn, her shift was uneventful. She had no visitors. She had no phone calls. At
Black Lantern Inn. That sounds so foreboding.
I know. But, I would eat there.
Oh, yeah. It sounds cool.
Yeah.
But like in the context of how I'm hearing about it.
It definitely is creepy. And there are other kind of creepy locations that we're going to get to. At approximately 11:20 p.m., Brianna clocked out and was seen by coworkers getting into her car and leaving the parking lot. She had told them that she can't stay and hang out after shift, which most people working in restaurants often do, because she needed to rest. She had an early shift at her second job in St. Albans the next morning. So it's like, I got to go home. I got to go to bed. By all accounts, Brianna was alone in her vehicle when she left the Black Lantern Inn. But again, this was the last time that Brianna Maitland was seen alive by anyone. So she had her whole shift. Everything was normal. She went home. She's like, I got to go to bed. And then no one saw her or heard from her again. The next afternoon, so Saturday, March 20th, 2004, a Vermont State Police trooper was dispatched to a report of an abandoned car on Route 118 in Richford. This location, which is about a mile from the Black Lantern Inn, was known as, quote, the Old Dutch Barn or the Old Dutchburn Barn or just, quote, Dutchburn House.
Wow. Creepy.
There's a picture of it on the drive. The house had been abandoned since the 1990s after a violent home invasion took place there in 1986.
Oh my God.
So in that situation, a man claiming to be a stranded motorist came to the house asking for gas, and there were two brothers who lived there, and it was an operational farm. So they lived there and worked on the farm. And they were like, we don't have any gas. And then the stranger broke in and violently assaulted them to steal cash that the brothers had, I guess, been known to keep on hand. So I guess the guy got made off with like almost $6,000 in cash. And the brothers did survive, but they left the farm within a couple of years. I think they were just unable to continue living in the place where they had experienced such a traumatic event.
Yeah.
And I have to imagine, like, I keep getting hung up on, like, why was her car found there? Like, why there? And I wonder if there had been a reason that she went there or if the car was left there. It's a possibility that the scene that was discovered was staged. And it's like, I could totally see a location like that becoming the stuff of like urban legend in the area. So it makes you wonder if there's any significance to Dutchburn House as a location for
Well, it
her
seems-
car.
It's abandoned. It looks pretty
It's
isolated.
rural. Mhm.
Maybe if someone was planning on abducting her, they sort of planned ahead to have a place where they could take their time doing whatever they were doing.
Right, very possible. Investigators immediately noted that the scene was unusual. So as you can see from the photo that I included on the drive, the car pictured there is her green Oldsmobile.
Oh, is that how it was parked?
Well, it was found backed into the side of the abandoned house. The car had collided with the building with enough force that its rear bumper was stuck on the foundation, elevating the rear tires and disabling the vehicle.
Weird.
There was also a piece of plywood. It's not in the picture because the picture is like from the other side of the barn, so you can only see the front of the car. The damage is in the back of the car. But there was a piece of plywood that had covered a window, like a boarded up window that fell onto the trunk of the car. So clearly reversed into it at pretty substantial speed to do damage like that and to stick the car hooked over onto the foundation.
Yeah.
Inside the unlocked vehicle, the keys were missing, but 2 paychecks from the Black Lantern Inn made out to Brianna Maitland were found on the front seat. Outside of the car was found loose change, a water bottle, and an unlit, so like unsmoked cigarette on the ground near the car. The trooper's initial assumption was that a drunk driver had abandoned the car. So they didn't contact the registered owner of the vehicle, which would have been Brianna's mom, Kelly Maitland. He instead went to the Black Lantern Inn, but it was closed because he saw the paychecks or whatever on the car, the sheriff. But it was closed, so no one was there to like confirm who this person was or when they had last seen her or what the deal was with the car. So then they just called a tow truck to take it to, the like police impound or whatever, and left the vehicle and whoever the driver was to like be dealt with another day. Which, to be fair, it's like, it's small town. You don't immediately assume something is a violent crime scene, but
Yeah.
I think given the level of destruction and the car being completely abandoned, maybe prioritize it a little bit. They just kind of were like, we'll deal with this later, which, I don't know. I don't usually try to simp for cops, but like I could see that going in either direction. All kinds of weird shit
Yeah.
you're investigating at any given moment. And if there wasn't like blood or a weapon, it's like, okay, a drunk driver fucking backed into this barn and was like, oh shit, grabbed their keys and walked home. We'll figure it out later. I could see that being
I can see it, and
being
it's
a
easy
line of
for us
logic.
to make judgments,
Right.
knowing what we know now. But
Ver-
at the same time, it's a very odd the fact that it penetrated the house.
Yeah, I think
It's
even
almost
if
like leaving the scene of an accident.
well, yeah, and even if it was assumed to be just a drunk driver who crashed, like I feel like the first thing you'd want to do is run the plate and get in contact with the owner of the vehicle. Like that just seems like the immediate
Yeah.
task. It's 2004. It's not like we don't have the internet, and it's not like they don't have databases, and it's not like we don't have phones and cell phones. Not everyone had cell phones. It doesn't sound like Brianna had one, but I'm just saying, like, yes, I get it, and a little urgency can close a window that's really important in cases like this.
Yeah.
So Brianna was not reported missing for several days after the car was found. Jillian Stout, so Brianna's friend that she lived with, returned home on Monday after a weekend away and found Brianna's note untouched. Like it had been there the last time she saw it when Brianna didn't come home, or she didn't see Brianna come home from work. It hadn't moved at all. And there was no sign that Brianna had been home since then. So Jillian
that whole
assumed
weekend.
that whole weekend, it didn't look like she had come back into the house. So Jillian assumed, she's probably staying with somebody else, like hanging out, with something from work or whatever. So it wasn't until Tuesday, March 23rd, that Kelly Maitland, Brianna's mom, who had been trying to reach Brianna and track down her whereabouts from like friends and employers and was coming up empty, she filed a missing persons report. On Thursday, March 25th, when Brianna's parents provided photos to the Vermont State Police, a trooper showed them a picture of the Oldsmobile found at the Dutchburn house. They immediately identified it as their daughter's car. Kelly stated that she was, quote, instinctively revulsed by the photo, believing someone else, not Brianna, had left the car in such a way, like a mother's instinct pinging.
Well, yeah, it had crashed. Something had happened.
Yeah, something weird. Crashing backwards in the middle of nowhere with no other damage on the vehicle is very fucking strange.
Yeah.
By this point, investigators started treating the investigation as an act of foul play and believed Brianna did not leave her vehicle or the area where it was found willingly. They also believed that the scene at the Dutchburn house could have been staged to appear as an accident. So
You're going backwards.
Yeah, I know. It's like, well, it's just a drunk driver. We'll deal with it later. Now it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe this is a staged
But then
crime
if you
scene.
if a person were staging something like a minor car crash, why would you throw it in reverse and do it that way?
Good question.
I think there was a struggle.
Possibly, but yeah, there's not really any evidence at the scene itself to indicate much of a struggle. So who knows?
I'm just theorizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very challenging case because I feel like there's just not a lot to go off of. But there are witness sightings near the old Dutchburn house from the night of Brianna's disappearance. And those include a man who drove by between 11:30 p.m. and 12:30 a.m. on March 19th/20th, like middle of the night, who said the car's headlights might have been on, but that he saw no one in or around the car. So this isn't like a super busy road, but it's a pretty main throughway even for this rural community. So people were on it consistently, a few hours apart, potentially, like in that time span. A second man driving by between midnight and 12:30 a.m. on March 20th recalled seeing a turn signal flashing on the car.
Ugh.
Around midnight, a couple witnessed a tall, stocky man standing in front of the Oldsmobile's headlights, and later a silver or gray Honda Civic speeding, then braking abruptly at the scene. So somebody believes they saw at least one man and another vehicle at the Dutchburn house.
Oh my God.
Around 4 a.m. on March 20th, a former boyfriend of Brianna's drove past but didn't see anyone in or around the vehicle. The next morning, passing motorists found the scene odd enough to stop and take pictures, noting loose change, a water bottle, and a bracelet on the ground. These were all among the things that were found when the sheriff came. In the week following Brianna's disappearance, law enforcement investigated numerous tips. An anonymous tip led to an April 15th, 2004 raid on a house in Berkshire, which is about 10 miles from Montgomery. And this house is occupied by two known drug dealers from New York, men named Raymond L. Ryans and Nathaniel Charles Jackson. Police found drug paraphernalia, cocaine, and marijuana, but no sign of Brianna. They raided this house because friends had informed law enforcement that Brianna had allegedly experimented with drugs and was acquainted with Ryans and Jacksons. They were like, okay, we're going to go see what's up with these dudes. And if they've seen her, maybe she's just like on kind of a bender for the weekend. Like you're looking at every possible connection and thread. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
In late 2004, an anonymous, quote, older female provided a signed affidavit detailing in graphic terms that Brianna had allegedly been murdered about a week after her disappearance. And the woman claimed that Ryans, one of these drug dealers, murdered Brianna during an argument over money for drugs, and her body was temporarily stored and then allegedly dismembered with a table saw and disposed of on a pig farm.
Jesus Christ.
Law enforcement was unable to corroborate these gruesome claims. I don't necessarily believe this to be true. And there's something very strange that we'll kind of get to later, but this almost feels like a pattern of people who are giving quote unquote information or maybe think they're helping, but it's like pretty harmful to the family specifically and really kind of fucked up.
Harmful to the investigation to be wasting those resources,
right?
too.
And going as far as signing an affidavit is strange if it was a complete lie. So maybe this person really did just hear something through the rumor mill and like wanted to make sure that it was on record, which I respect. I do respect that. But if this isn't true and this is just like shit people are saying, on the street, stop. That's not helpful and really harmful to the family. And like you said, to the investigation itself. So this is the part that gives me pause about this signed affidavit, because the Maitland family was also receiving uncorroborated anonymous phone calls like to their home.
Ew.
Suggesting that Brianna was, quote, tied to a tree in the woods or disposed of at the bottom of a lake.
Oh my God.
So just like leave this fucking family alone. I cannot imagine people doing this. Like, what compels you to call a missing person's family and say these things? Even if you think you're being helpful, then call the cops if you want to be helpful and pass along this information. Like, to call them personally when they're in the process of looking for it's abuse. It's harassment. Like, that's not the proper channel to do that.
No.
And people are fucking boundaryless and unhinged, and it makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So in 2006, security footage from the Caesars Casino in Atlantic City, New Jersey, showed a woman that did resemble Brianna sitting at a poker table, but this woman couldn't be definitively identified, so we can't be sure if it was her or not. But people and the investigation, like, after all these years, that was only 2 years after she disappeared. So people are still definitely approaching this case assuming she is still alive. Now, almost 20 years later, it's certainly a lot less likely that that is the case. But at the time, you know, leads like that are really compelling, but then they couldn't confirm it. In 2012, so now it's been almost 10 years at this point, investigators explored a potential connection between Brianna's case and Israel Keyes, a known serial killer to be active in Vermont and New York. However, the FBI definitively ruled out Keyes as a suspect in late December of 2012, shortly after he died by suicide. Obviously, we'll have to get Josh Hallmark and his team at True Crime Bullshit to weigh in on that situation, but you know,
yeah, Josh, do you have a binder for Brianna?
Maybe. But like, as we know from True Crime Bullshit, he was pretty candid with like his locations and his whereabouts at certain times when he was active. So like, if the FBI can definitively rule him out, it's likely that he is confirmed not to have been in the area at the time of her disappearance.
Yeah.
But people have been wrong before, and certainly Josh and his team have quite literally helped connect other missing persons cases to Israel Keyes that the FBI was not connecting. So like, that's not to say that it's an impossibility. It's just not likely. So yeah, Brianna remains missing to this day, but significant progress has been made in the years after her disappearance regarding DNA evidence. So in March of 2016, investigators revealed that they had recovered DNA samples from Brianna's car, and specifically a DNA sample was collected from an item of interest. We don't know exactly what that item is publicly, as far as I could tell, and that's probably intentional because you don't want all of those details to be readily available so that if and when they do connect that to a specific individual, they can use that as a means to like corroborate whether or not that's the person. You know what I mean? So I get why they don't release that. But
also, depending on the item, that would go a long way in indicating what type of DNA it was. Like if it was a water bottle or a pair of underwear.
Right, exactly. I don't think any of her clothes were found at the scene. As far as I know, it was like jewelry, the cigarette, the water bottle, coins, the paychecks, you know, things that there could have been clothes in her car, but from what I read, it did not appear that like Brianna, the clothes that she was wearing were left at the scene. So I don't think it's that. And I didn't see anything that indicates that the scene showed like intense violence or assault, because again, there's not like blood, you know, much of a struggle. The keys from the car are gone. The car doors were closed. Like she clearly got out of the vehicle. We don't know how exactly she got out of the vehicle. Whether she was pulled out or coaxed out is unclear, obviously. But so a specific DNA sample was collected from an item of interest found on the ground near where Brianna's car was discovered. This DNA profile was initially entered into CODIS, which is the FBI's DNA database, and compared against 11 persons of interest, but no match was found at that time. So I think this also kind of ruled out the drug dealer guys. They have not faced any charges. I'm sure they're still like, in the grand scheme of things, considered as part of this investigation, but there's nothing solid to connect them to her disappearance.
Okay.
In fall of 2020, the Vermont State Police partnered with Othram, a Texas-based forensic sequencing laboratory, like a private lab, known for its advanced DNA testing methods. Othram scientists use forensic-grade genome sequencing and geological research to develop investigative leads. The cost of this lab testing, interestingly enough, and the genealogical research were fully funded by Paul Holes and the now defunct and deleted Murder Squad podcast, and we're not going to give you the tea on that whole ordeal, but I'm sure Reddit has it available for you.
Oh, no.
I know. I was like, oh, God, when I saw that detail.
Well, good. The
But-
testing and research was paid for.
Listen, Paul Holes, good work. Like, funding that kind of shit is important. So, props for props are due. After months of follow-up investigation, police were able to, quote, locate, interview, and obtain DNA samples from possible donors connected to the DNA sequence that was pulled from that item. In March of 2022, the Vermont State Police announced that DNA from one of these individuals matched the DNA found on the item near Brianna's vehicle. However, Detective Sergeant Angela Baker, the lead investigator on this case, made very clear that this, quote, doesn't mean we have identified a suspect, emphasizing that the individual has been cooperative and that while this means that, like, a source for the DNA has been identified, they are not necessarily considered a suspect in Brianna's disappearance. Again, this is an area that is abandoned, but not, like, never touched. We don't know if the item that they're discussing belonged to Brianna, belonged to their kidnapper. We don't know if this DNA match could indicate that this is the individual or a relative potentially of the individual. Like, there's a lot we don't know.
Everyone leaves DNA everywhere you go. So
correct. And we have discussed many times that DNA evidence, while very compelling, is not a smoking gun. And has to be, like, very meticulously handled and studied to draw solid conclusions from DNA alone. So I do appreciate that they're like, yes, we have someone, but they're not, like, in custody or a suspect. At this point, at most, it's like a person of interest because they match something from the area of the scene. So now, as we stand in 2025, Brianna Maitland would be 37 years old, literally our age. Her case, I guess now 38, almost 38. Her case, while unsolved, is not considered a cold case by the Vermont State Police. They remain, quote, as dedicated to this case now as they were when Brianna disappeared. In March of 2024, the FBI announced a reward of $40,000 for information that helps solve the mystery surrounding Brianna's disappearance. This is a significant increase from previous rewards, which were around $20,000. So they've increased that reward double. Special Agent Craig Tremoroli of the FBI's Albany field office stated, quote, someone out there may have information that can help solve this case. It's been too long and it's time to come forward. No tip is too small. So if you do have a tip or, someone knows something, right? Like, for the love of God, please fucking come forward.
But no more of these pig farm.
No. And call the proper channels, which I am about to provide you. Tips can be submitted via the FBI's toll-free tip line, which is at 1-800-CALL-FBI. The Vermont State Police tip line at 1-844-84-VTIPS. Emailing Detective Angela Baker at angela.baker@vermont.gov. There's also a private investigation team that's working on this, so you can contact them, private investigations, for the missing tip line at 1-866-331-6660 or piftmtips@gmail.com. And, it's wild that we still don't have more information because Brianna is a young, beautiful, white teenager. Her case has been extensively covered in the media, as most young, lovely, white girls get, which, again, to reiterate, it's not a bad thing that these cases get a lot of attention. The bad thing is that every case spanning every cross-section and intersection of oppression and identity do not get the same resources or the same attention. But this case has been covered on Dateline NBC. There's a documentary series called Disappeared that covered it. Podcasts like The Vanished. There's a ton of extensive podcasts about this case if you are interested in learning more. Her case was discussed in the documentary series, The Disappearance of Maura Murray, because there had been some wondering if the cases were related, but law enforcement has since deemed the two cases unrelated, despite their proximity in time and location. In 2023, a private investigator working for the Maitland family even published a book about her disappearance. So there's a ton of information out there about this case. And that's the shit that always blows my mind is it's like, how has no one given any information that's like actually helpful in getting answers for this family. It's very frustrating.
It's very scary to think, which I often do, about how many murderers and serial killers there are out there that we
just
don't know about. And will never be caught.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that we just will never get an answer to.
No. And that is very unsettling.
I told you, I'm having a rough day.
I know. I'm sorry. It's not my fault. It's Deanna or Dina's fault.
Deanna.
It's not my fault.
It's okay. I still want to visit Vermont, even though people vanish out of fucking thin air up there.
They vanish out of thin air everywhere.
I know. No one is safe.
But the hope remains that the substantial reward and continued public attention will generate the crucial leads needed to finally bring Brianna home and provide answers to her family. It is hard to believe that she is still alive, 21 years later.
We don't have any real reason to believe she's not, though.
Correct.
Other than we don't know where she is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's that whole vanish without much of a trace.
The biggest loose end in the whole world.
Yeah. Very unsettling, very frustrating circumstances. And my heart goes out to her family and friends who continue to look for her to this day. So yeah, if you fucking know something, it's time to come forward.
Yeah. It's been long enough.
It's beyond time. But that's my case.
Great. Fun. Thanks for the cheer up.
Can you believe? Sorry.
That's okay. I'm
so
Deanna.
Sorry.
Might need a nap after that.
Don't email us. Email Deanna. Why do I keep saying her name wrong? I'm such a bad person. Deanna.
Yes. Thank you, Deanna, for the fan pick. Thank you, Ethan Allen.
Oh, American hero.
That remember guy.
Remember?
Forgot his last name.
Was it Davis?
I don't know.
I forgot.
We'll never know. We all forgot. Oh, thank you so much for listening. And as Amanda said, if you want to listen to this and all of our episodes ad-free, join us on Uncorked because we have a very good time over there.
We really do. Last night's happy hour was
really fun.
A blast.
I know.
I love our happy hours so much. The chat is so lively. We really get to talk to you, answer your questions. It is a lot of y'all just watching us get a little fucked up and catch up on shit that we wanted to tell each other about, but that's
Pretty
fun
much.
too.
We answer questions.
We do. We love
Amanda
it.
got called a butterface by accident.
It was by accident. They meant to say rubber face. I have forgiven my assailant.
God bless. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Danielle Sylvan. Music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell. Editing by Jonathan Camp. Our production manager is Andrea Gardner. For photos, sources, and other resources, head to wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can follow us on all the socials at Wine and Crime Pod. If you'd like to show your support and get access to all sorts of wine-fueled bonus content, check out our premium channel at wineandcrimepodcast.com/uncorked. Cheers!